Hi guys, how's it going? It's Clarice again, and on this Christmas tutorial, I am going to show you guys how to do a winter scene, which is going to have a couple of evergreen Christmas looking trees, and it's going to be like a night scene. So the colors we're going to be using are, I'm just using three. I'm going to be using a light blue, a purple, and this is a dark blue. I know it looks pretty dark, but those are the colors that I'm using. And for my brushes, I am going to be using my Mop Brush in the 1, a regular round 10, and then my Silver Black Velvets in the 4 and the 8. These seem to be my go-tos, these three at least. So I'm just saying I might not end up using all these brushes, but I'm just kind of keeping them in case I do need it, because this is going to entail a background and then the trees in the foreground. So I just want to make sure that I have enough ammo to tackle all of that. So let us begin. I am going to start off with just mildly wetting the sheet. Sorry, these are trying to roll off here, so let me just make sure they're there. And so for that, I'm just going to make sure that my mop brush is damp enough, and I will just start dampening it with a little bit of blue on my brush. So you might need your palette. I'm just going to use mine. I know it's pretty messy and not cleaned, but I can use the blue section because I plan to use a lot of the blue and purple. So I'm just going to make sure I dip it in and just get some blue on there. And so now that I have some semblance of blue, I'm just going to make sure I have enough water on the brush again, and I'm just going to wet the area. And I'm going to keep on doing that and just kind of end it right here at a slant almost, because then the rest is going to kind of depict snow. Okay, and so I want variations of blue in here, so I'm going to use the same brush and get more blue going on in there. So I'll probably start off with having layers of dark kind of swirl and just play around with how it kind of goes around. And then I'll take some of my, let's just introduce this brush in, take some purple, and let's just see what happens there. Introducing some purple, and then some of the blue, the lighter blue that I have. And then going back to the dark blue that I've been using. And I'm just going to give it a light wash to kind of, at the edge, I mean. I just wanted to add a little more blue in with the purple so it doesn't look too random purpley. And we kind of, once we have this pattern of blues that we have going on here down solid, we want to keep this, we want to have this dry up a bit. All right, so we're going to end this here. All right, and now we'll just wait for this to dry a tad bit. So while this is drying, I'm just going to pause the video so we're not just prolonging and making this extra long than it needs to be. All right, we're back. So I don't want this to dry too much. I still want the dampness to be there. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my number 4 brush, and using the dark blues, I am going to get a fair bit of color on here so it's nice and saturated. And then I'm going to lightly start my trees. And the way I do the trees are pretty much you're starting from the top and you're just very loosely kind of, you want to create that extension out. And kind of show that the trees are coming tapered at the top and then broader as we go down, and leave some white space in between. So you're kind of just like, how would you call these? Just lightly putting this on here, and see how it kind of nicely, the color just swirls in. That's the effect you want. And then lots of white space can really add some nice detail onto your painting. So keep that white space going on, and that's nice. And it's just really satisfying to kind of see this effect. I want my top to be more tapered, so I'm just gonna do a little bit more brushing on there. You can just go in and fuss around to how you want your trees to kind of look, but this is the main feature of this painting, like how you can have this kind of misty looking tree going on, and just the bottom can just be pointillism, which is just dropping colors here and there because you want to have it like a 3D full tree, so to speak. All right, so now I've done that there. I want to do some purple in it, so I'm just going to take some purple on the same brush and just add it to kind of darken certain areas here and there. The purple isn't quite what I envisioned it to be, so you can opt to add purple or you can add another version of the blue. It is totally up to you. Let's just see how it turns out once it is dry. So now that I have that purple in there, I'm just going to go back to this blue that I have, and I'm going to do another tree on here. And same kind of idea, you're just kind of starting from the top, tapering down, leaving a lot of white space, and you can kind of leave hints. Like you don't have to finish the whole tree if you want to start another one right below it. So for instance, what I mean is, say I start another tree right here, and then this one can be like a tree in the back. Let me see if I can show you. How would that work? Okay, so over here. So say if I do another tree here, and it's like a smaller version. But see how the paper is drying now, so I don't have a lot of the lucidness that I had over there. So I'm relying a lot on my consistency in water and the paint. So this is all about timing. It's all about consistency and ratios of the water and the paint. So be aware of that. So see how this kind of tapers off? This is still damp, this area. So I'm just going to loosely add a little more detail and then kind of let it go so it looks like it's off in the background, and this one is to the forefront. All right, and adding a little more detail. All right, so that's that. Now I think I'll do another one over there, just to kind of, right after I just finish doing what I'm doing here. Yeah, so I'll do one more here. And I didn't do any purple in the other one, but you totally can. Maybe I will add some of the lighter blue just to sort of see what that looks like. I'll make this darker so that it shows to be in the forefront. And I love this effect of just, it's almost like an impressionist look. Vincent van Gogh is one of my favorite artists, and I love the impressionist style. I think it's so romantic and just totally becoming to look at. And so this has always been a style that's kind of stuck with me, even when I used to paint with acrylics. And I guess now it's kind of seeping into my watercolor too. I'm gonna go in, take some of the light blue. Let's see if I have any dampness left anywhere that I can sort of introduce the light blue in. I do have some damp areas. So you just want to get just a tad bit of it in there, just so you can see hints of different shades of blue. It is like a midnight kind of scene, and you don't need to overdo it. I just find like a little bit of a bright color adds a certain attractiveness, gives it that two-dimension feel as well. This is me adding some purple in there. So really and truly, instead of kind of following what I'm doing, now that you have the basics, I would say pick 3 colors, and then as you're painting along, just kind of you be the judge of where you feel you want to add a hint of a little bit extra here and there, and kind of see what results you come up with. You might really surprise yourself with coming up with something even better than what I'm doing. You never know. So that's my encouragement to you. While you are looking at my tutorials to kind of get an idea and grasp of how things are done, and I love doing that for you guys, but I really do wish and hope that you're not just copying, but you're also experimenting yourselves and coming up with some interesting results. And as I mention all the time towards the end of my videos, I love to see your results, so please include me when you're posting. Tag me or send me a private message if you don't want to make something too public. I just love seeing what people come up with. I think it's always so encouraging, not just to me, but just to sort of even learn from you guys. If you have suggestions in, maybe I'm doing something and you have a better way of doing it, absolutely, I love to hear it. I'm not the kind of person who's like, I know everything and I can never do anything wrong. That is not true. Truth be told, this is my first time doing this. So I'm winging it on first go. So I'm experimenting just like you are. And it's all about once you have a technique or you know of a technique and you kind of just experiment and go along with it and see if it works for you, if you like it, what have you. So that's my little rant for this one. And I am going to say I love my little splatters, so, or my little dots even. So I like to leave a little bit of a dot here and there to the end of these tree branches rather. And just adds more detail. This would be similar to the tutorial I put out last year, which was like a legit Christmas tree, but like a very loose style. I'm just taking it to the next level and showing you how to incorporate other colors and make this almost like a Christmassy, snowy scene. All right, so that's that. And now we're going to end off with using this area to create a little bit of shadow and then just taper off. So I'm going to use the mop brush that I have, and I'm just going to give it this a light wash with the dark blue that I had going on. So I have some dark blue on here, and I'm just kind of going to go not all over the area, just in certain places to kind of make it seem like shadow, like shadow on the ice. And I want to leave this area, this edge white, and then obviously just a hint of shadow here and there. That's good enough right here. Oops, that's a bit much. Let me take out some color and just blend that in. All right, so that's that. And then once this dries up a little bit, what I want to do is create shadow from the trees that are on here. So let's give this a little bit of time, and while we're doing that, I'm just going to touch up some of the trees here. Like this area could be covered up a little bit more, in my opinion, just because it's supposed to be full of trees, right? So there could be a tree coming out from this side, if anything. So I'm just going to use this and just create more branches, I guess you could call them. Like it would be coming from another tree right here. So I'm just going to put it up in this direction. And I might just end up even cropping this, because as you can see, I'm just taking out sheets of, I'm just cutting out sheets of watercolor paper from this watercolor roll that I happen to have, and I cannot really name what the roll is called because it doesn't have it on the box for some reason. I just ordered it off Amazon, and yeah, I don't know what it is. So I can't share that name with you guys, sorry. So I think this has dried up enough, and now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to try and mimic a shadow. Hopefully I can do that. Let's see. Let's do a little bit of the bright blue and a little bit of the dark blue. And then let's create a very loose looking shadow. And then you want to do the same for the other one. And then you want to do that here as well. I'm just going to try and go as light and loose as I can. Some red got on there, so it's a little bit. Now this isn't water, so technically it shouldn't quite look this detailed. So try and take away the detail. It really should just be like a blob, if anything. So more like this side than this side. That's my humble opinion. You guys can tell me what you think. And that's that. And now the thing with watercolor, I think it would be really nice to kind of splatter on some whatchamacallit, some white, just to kind of show snow. But I don't really have white watercolor. I know I should get it for the new year. And so instead what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and get my gouache paints and sprinkle that on here. So give me a moment to get my gouache, because this is like a last minute thing that I've decided to do. So let me just do that and just take off some of this excess paint, because I want it to be like a shadow prolonging on this side here too. Yeah, always have your stuff handy so you can always dab off additional paint that you feel is too much or too dark. All right, paper towel. All right, so let's do that. All right, great. So I have some gouache right here in a white, and I'm just going to put some on my palette and then mix it up with some water and then splatter away onto my painting. And let's see what happens. So the thinner the brush, the tinier the splatter. So instead of using the mop brush, I think I will use the number 8 and just blend in the white. And if I want lighter splatters, then I can always take the 4 and use that to splatter. So here's to a good old splatter. Let's see how that works out. And now just holding it down, I'm just going to I kind of like it. What do you guys think? Should get more on the trees. You can see some of them are kind of blending in because it's still damp, and I actually don't mind it. I like that effect. So if you don't like that effect, I would suggest waiting till your painting dries properly and then doing this. I like how it's kind of going on the shadow as well, and it's splattering on my face too. So beware when you're doing this. And now I'll take some water, blend some more, and coming down hard. This is a snowstorm right here, guys. This is a snowstorm. That's what's happening. Oh man, I love this. I love the polka dot effect. Absolutely loving it. I don't even need the number 4. I think I'm good with how this is. And I think I will just leave it as is. Yep, so anyway, so this is my rendition of a wintry night using 3 colors. Well, actually 4 if you're counting the white gouache, but that's an optional step at the end. I'd love to hear your comments, guys. Message me, follow me on Instagram, on Facebook, write me in the comments below. I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial. Love hearing from you guys. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll chat soon. Bye.